Jennifer Brockman is a Catholic wife, mom of 7, and host of her YouTube channel, A Country Life. She lives on a working cranberry marsh in Wisconsin with her family and somehow manages to do it all with authenticity and joy. She joins me today in her adorable apron to discuss how she balances home, work, and holiness. You don't want to miss this, so go grab your coffee and sit down because we need to talk. Today on Catholic Homework, I am blessed to be chatting with Jennifer Brockman of the well-known YouTube channel, A Country Life. Hi, Jennifer.
How are you?
Great. Okay, so Jennifer, before we dive into our discussion about balancing home, work, and holiness, could you please share a little about your background, like how you got started with A Country Life and what life is like for you and your family living on a cranberry marsh?
Ooh, that's a lot. Okay, so I got started on my YouTube channel in 2017, and it actually just sort of happened very naturally in the sense that I was just searching for a recipe and I ended up at a website, and on her website it said, click here to watch me make this recipe. And I was just like totally confused by that. I didn't understand. Like, I was going into her kitchen. Where was I going to watch her? Like, how was she making this all the time so that I could see her making this? So I click on it and it took me over to YouTube, which was the very first time I had ever used YouTube.
Oh, and when was
Um,
this?
that was about June of 2017.
Okay.
And so then I started watching this woman's channel. I was clicking around to other videos, and I was just like, it was so foreign to me what she was doing, in the sense that she was just like going about her life, sharing cooking. She was in her kitchen, she was doing all these things. And I was just in awe. I was like, I could do this. I could completely talk without anybody interrupting me. It just sounded like it. I was like, this is totally the thing for me. I
Wow, so you
didn't
just
know
connected with it immediately.
immediately. And I mean, I didn't know how to edit. Honestly, I didn't even know how to record video. So I didn't know how to record. I didn't know how to edit. I didn't know how to make a YouTube channel. I didn't, I didn't everything. Everything that you could possibly ask, I didn't.
Did
I
you have
didn't
a
know.
smartphone at that time when in 2017? Was it recording on? No, so you had to record with a camera.
Correct. And I didn't even have at the time, when I actually made the decision, like, I'm going to do this, I just had a great big chunky DSLR Kodak. No, what was it? Canon, whatever it was, whatever that was called. And there was no screen, so you couldn't see if you were in the view or anything. It was just, I just picked it up and I just kind of just looked into the lens and figured good enough is good enough. And that was how it got started. I
Hmm.
didn't know it was a business at that point. I had no thought that it was going to be a business. I had no thought that I was being an entrepreneur. I was just talking to a camera because I saw someone else do it and it looked like fun.
Beautiful. And you had a family at this time, so you were married and living on the marsh. And how
Correct.
many kids did you have in 2017?
At 7.
So you had 7 at 2017.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. We had all 7 of our kids in 2017. Well, that sounds funny. But they were all with us and everybody lived at home at the time. And yeah, it was pretty full. It
So
was pretty
yeah, so
full.
you're work. I mean, you help out physically, right, on the marsh with your husband sometimes.
Somewhat.
Harvest.
I mean, let's say a 0.5% to his 99.5%.
Okay.
Okay. I mean, let's just be real here. But I do plenty of running errands for him. Uh, I mean, during harvest, I'm doing things. I did some work this year, actually, probably more this year than all of the other years combined, just because he needed me. And I didn't have little kids. So I'm at a point where I actually can do that now.
Sure. And how old is your youngest?
She's 11.
Okay. Wow. So how do you manage the demands of farm life, motherhood, and work? And then how do you maintain a sense of balance in all of that?
Yeah, well, managing all of it, I guess, first off, I think I'm a pretty high, I wouldn't say overly energized person, but I definitely have plenty of energy. Like I'm not one that I find that I'm like groggy or I need a break. And so I'm just naturally that kind of a person that I like to be always doing something.
Mhm.
So balancing it all just kind of feels, I mean, I'm not going to say I don't ever get overwhelmed because I do, but I just figure it out. I can also, I also have a personality where I can let things go. So if there's dishes or dirty floors or laundry, I can look past that for quite a while,
And
good or bad.
your natural life is what makes your channel special, wouldn't you say? I mean,
I
how does your normal world fit in with the business of your YouTube channel?
yeah, that's one thing when I did start with the filming is and once I started to think of it a little bit more like, oh, this is going to develop or could develop into a business, I definitely started thinking, I don't want to change because I mean, it was probably a full year in when things like started to actually kind of take off very slowly. And I had seen other channels because at that time I was trying to watch quite a bit of YouTube for the purpose of like understanding it.
Mhm.
And I noticed other channels like changing. Not that the channel can't change, but I watched like the creator actually change. And I knew I didn't want to try to portray some kind of falsity.
Mhm.
I wanted it to just be natural and real. And if I have makeup on, I do. If I don't have makeup on, I don't. If I'm wearing the same shirt that I've wore for 3 days in a row, I am. If I have a cute outfit on, great. If I don't, I don't. And
I love that authenticity.
I really tried to just be aware of that in the sense that I didn't want it to become, yeah, I didn't want to be like, oh, shoot, I got to get ready because I'm filming today. I wanted it to just be natural because I wanted to connect with women on a level where they are
Mhm.
because I was pretty sure if I have makeup days and non-makeup days, other women have makeup days and non-makeup days.
I love that.
If right? If I have a greasy hair day, I'm sure other women have a greasy hair day. So I just wanted it to be that realness.
Yeah,
So
I
to
think that's
connect.
really beautiful.
And it's worked. It's
Yeah,
worked.
yeah, obviously. How many followers do you have right now?
It's over 50,000 now. I had like a big surge in the last month. I don't really
Oh,
know
great.
what I did differently, but I had a little surge, which was nice. Nice to see because it growth is pretty slow.
Hmm. Well, that seems like pretty significant growth though since you launched in 2017. So,
Sure.
as a Catholic working mom, doing all that you do with your channel, how does your faith integrate into your busy home life and your work life and your family life? How does your faith life fit in to all of that?
Well, I guess kind of going back to the last like what we were just talking about, it's
Mhm.
just natural. Um, I don't on my channel, I don't particularly um well, I have a little bit, but I wouldn't say my channel is specifically a Catholic channel.
Mhm.
But I don't hide the fact either that we're Catholic. I mean, we if we go to mass, we're going to mass. It's a holy day, it's a holy day. If we're doing, something, it just kind of is naturally part of the channel. But then how does faith fit into just my life, I guess in general? it again, it's just that is what's important. And so I've kind of, this is just motherhood in general for the last like 28 years, is to just understand that I, everything that I'm doing is, I'm just trusting that it's the right thing for that moment.
Hmm.
Like if I'm deciding to work on something that's earning an income versus working on, let's say, cleaning the house, I just have to like be like, you know what, I made this decision and I'm going to trust that this was the decision that God wanted me to make. And so I should just put everything into this work right now. And if I've made this decision to go, let's say, to a daily mass, then I've made the decision to carve that time out. And I will find time in the day to do the other things. So it's really just for me has come down to trusting that what the decisions I'm making are what God wants me to do.
Hmm.
That somehow I'm getting the notion to make that decision. So it just must be, it must be moving me in the right direction.
Yeah, that's beautiful. So, in your experience, it sounds like you have really an understanding of how holiness, daily holiness, is part of your vocation as a wife and mom and entrepreneur. So that's what I'm gathering. And I
Yes.
love how seamless it is for you, especially when your channel isn't separate from your family at all. Your business is your family. And it's just all woven together. How do you see specifically how your everyday work on in with your family on the marsh and your work on your YouTube channel, how do you see it as part of God's plan for your family?
Ooh. So I think that with that, it's, ooh, okay, I'm kind of at a, honestly, I'm at a loss.
Sorry, Jennifer. Oh, so with all of the faith that you have, as you know, you just talked about how you just trust God that He's going to provide the opportunity for you to get done what you need to get done in any of your days. And so you just kind of flex with the with what you're called to. Um, so you must have a profound faith that what you are doing on a daily basis is part of God's plan for you and your family.
Yes. And what one thing that I've kind of learned about myself, especially with having older kids who question their faith, you know, we have kids that are from the ages of 11 or the age of 11 all the way up to 27. And as you know, so many kids, so many teens, they start to ask those harder questions about faith and especially like in their early 20s and everything. One thing that I've found for me is that I have kind of a childlike faith. And I always kind of thought that was maybe not always the best. And it was one of those things that I always kind of thought, oh, I wish I knew more. I wish I was more faithfully intellectual. I wish I
Mhm.
had a better understanding of the catechism. But that's just not me. I have always had this sort of like, I just call it a childlike faith. I just believe. And it's nothing I've ever questioned, which is kind of difficult in situations, right? When you have like young adult kids and or teenage kids and they're questioning it,
Mhm.
questioning their faith. I am not equipped to help them because I'm like, well, you just believe. You just do. Like, and so I have had, you know, when you ask that question, I'm like, I really don't even feel like I have an answer because it's just like I just don't waver.
Mm.
I don't waver. And
That's a strength though. That's strength in your faith. Not wavering. That's there's something to be said of that, I guess. Maybe you don't need
and
a reason.
and I think I think you're right on that. I sometimes though wish that I had some of those waverings every once in a while, so I could then help, you
Identify
know,
with your struggling
I
teens or your different
yes,
teens.
yes.
Well, that's Jennifer. That's why I do what I do, right?
I know. I
I
have to
can
get
help us
I have to get to the point where I have some of those teens again.
Right. Yeah. So I'll be there when you're ready. I
Perfect.
think it is so important to be able to meet your teen in their doubt and show up. And if you don't have the answers, that's okay. I really believe that we don't always have to have the answers because our church does have answers. The catechism, there's so many resources available to us, especially as Catholics for our faith, that if we just commit with our children, with our teens, to walking that journey with them, that even our own faith can be strengthened in the process of their doubt. So I think it's beautiful that you're willing to admit that you don't always have the answers to meet with your children that are experiencing that doubt. But having that strength, regardless of not having the answers, is also so lovely. So I appreciate you sharing that honestly with me, Jennifer, because
No.
I think a lot of moms probably feel the same way.
Yeah,
That's
I think
okay.
so too. I think so.
Yeah. So as a kind of the final big question here, I'd like you to explain, if you can, how you prioritize rest and renewal in your life, what that looks like, and how your faith guides you in finding balance between caring for your family, managing your businesses, and then having time for yourself. Um,
Mhm. Rest and renewal. So, I mentioned at the beginning that I'm kind of a person that just has energy, I think, kind of naturally. And I find that I'm I'm not the introvert in the house. Not that I don't like to be alone, I do, but I definitely am recharged with people, which is probably a good thing, because, at one point there were nine of us here.
mhm.
And so I think just accepting again, like I definitely know that there was a point in motherhood when I I always was, when you're doing one thing, it's like you think I should be doing something else,
Mhm.
right? You're out, like, I mean, let's just say, just take cleaning and housework. You're like folding laundry, you're like, oh my gosh, I should be washing the dishes right now. You're
Mhm.
washing the dishes, you're like looking out the window, oh my gosh, the lawn needs to be
Mhm.
mowed, or the this. You're always going. And when I finally decided that I'm going to trust again. Exactly what I'm doing now is what I'm supposed to be doing. That was such a game changer. I mean, it happened a long, long time ago. I've been doing this mothering thing, like I said, for like 27 years. So that happened a long time ago that I had that moment. But that has just been key, I think, is to just to accept that if I'm working on my YouTube business, that is the most important thing right now. If I'm playing a game with my kids, that is the most important. We actually just had a 4-day Monopoly game going, uh, myself and my two youngest kids. And, there was a time when I wouldn't have been willing to do that because I would have felt like that was pulling so much away from the other things that needed to be done. And so for me now, especially with having adult kids and younger kids, um, playing a game is actually restful and rejuvenating for me.
Mhm.
Where when I only had younger kids, that wouldn't have been restful and rejuvenating. So I think too, just um, rest and rejuvenation can look different at different points in your life and different points in motherhood. And that's okay. Rest and rejuvenation at a time when you have just littles, it may mean you have to get out of the house. You need to just do something like that. Or maybe you need everybody to get out of the house and you need to just have a quiet nap or something. But and just accepting that it will change over the years. So for me, yeah, just the rest, the rejuvenating, the taking care of myself. Um, it's really just kind of being in tune with what I'm doing is just the most important thing. So if I'm going to take time to curl my hair today, that's self-care. I'm going to be like, no, you guys figure out life,
Small
figure out
moments of
breakfast.
self-care and true presence in the moment, it sounds like.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
Jen, so yeah, here's your homework from Jennifer Brockman. Uh, Take the small moments like curling your hair and playing games with your children as rest and renewal. Appreciate those few minutes of your day. If you don't have time for a vacation, you don't have time to maybe go get a coffee or go to the gym or step away, but you can still grab those moments and be truly present to your family and your God and your faith in small moments. So, thank you so much, Jennifer. It was so great having you on the show today. Please share with the listeners where they can find you to stay in the loop on all you're doing.
You can find me at A Country Life on YouTube. You can also find me at a country_life on Instagram. But the best and the place that I'm most active would be YouTube. So just at A Country Life at YouTube.
Beautiful. Love speaking with you. So, talk again soon.
Thanks so much. Bye.
Bye.